The Associated Press declared Donald Trump the winner in Wisconsin at 5:34 a.m. Eastern Time, November the 6th, the day after the election, wrapping up his chances for the White House when it was determined that the remaining votes would not be enough to turn the tide towards Vice President Kamala Harris to overtake Trump. Trump had already swept the other two must-have states of Pennsylvania and Michigan in the blue wall, and Wisconsin sealed the deal. Now for the commentary. Also on this day, as editor of the former Independent Press of the 70s in Birmingham, Alabama, and now a licensed and ordained minister, I have decided there is a need for a truthful news source that Christians can come to other than the politically motivated right-wing evangelical sources, Fox News, Newsmax, or even more crazy right-wing interest sites. You know, I provided some news and commentary on the McDowell Bible College supported Bible College Radio internet radio site. However, it did not have the audience that was hoped in that media. Christian Press, or CP, was created to bring back into focus a moral outlook for the Christian world for both hard copy and online media. Many good and well-meaning Christians have been deceived into following an immoral, corrupt, mendacious, authoritarian, anti-democratic, and when you realize the truth, irreligious leadership. They look with tunnel vision to one or two narrow issues they believe is important to them, such as abortion or the immorality of the gay lifestyle, ignoring the character and moral foundation of the leader. Those deceived Christians chose a leader who rarely ever attended a church service, except maybe to hold a Bible up, trying to make a political point in front of a church. Even the church that he claimed to have attended in his youth stated that he was never a member and voted that he would never be allowed membership due to his immoral character. In supporting this con man, who would use anything, yes, even religion, to gain power, these deceived Christians are willing to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Fortunately, many Christians, including the staff of CP, still feel that character counts when choosing those who would be role models to our youth and examples to the rest of the world. In 2019, the editor of Christianity Today, an evangelical magazine that was founded in the 50s by Billy Graham, came out against Trump. Golly wrote in the editorial, "The President of the United States attempted to use his political power to coerce a foreign leader to harass and discredit one of the President's political opponents." Golly wrote in the editorial, "That is not only a violation of the Constitution, but more importantly, it is profoundly immoral." Golly put a crack in the evangelical support for Trump because he had the moral courage to stand up to that bully. However, he paid the price, having to step down from his position at the magazine. With 81% of evangelicals voting for the morally corrupt president in 2016, it was refreshing to see that not every Christian had drunk the Trump Kool-Aid. I am not putting myself on the level with Mark Galli, as I have much less to lose. But when I took on bigotry and hate in the 70s with Independent Press in Birmingham, Alabama, I received threats. I spent 20 years in the military, and although I never served in combat, there was always the chance I would be called. I answered that call again. Christians need to start following the teachings of Jesus and God's commandments and refute this evil, deceiving, immoral Trump. Or I worry about their very souls, much less the soul of our nation. You cannot support a wicked ruler and still consider yourself a follower of Jesus. We know well the words of Jesus when he stated in Matthew chapter 7, verse 15 through 20. Beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravenous wolves. You will recognize them by their fruits. Are grapes gathered from thorn bushes or figs from thistles? So every healthy tree bears good fruit, but a diseased tree bears bad fruit. A healthy tree cannot bear bad fruit, nor can a diseased tree bear good fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. Thus you will recognize them by their fruits. And in Mark 13, Jesus began to say to them, see that no one leads you astray. Many will come in my name saying, I am he, and they will lead many astray. While Jesus stated that this would happen, remember more in Mark 13. Verse 7, and when you hear of wars and rumors of wars, do not be alarmed. This must take place. But the end is not yet. For nation will rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom. There will be earthquakes in various places. There will be famines. These are but the beginning of the birth pains. All of these verses I read in the English Standard Version. Those strong in Jesus Christ can avoid the worst. It is never too late to turn truly Christian leaders who actually attend a church and pray to the Almighty. But how are you going to know if your only news source is Fox News or Newsmax, who has collectively spent billions of dollars in lawsuits for lying, or even less reliable sources on the internet? There is no saying about lawyers, but it also applies to Trump. How do you know Trump is lying? Because his mouth is open. Good Christians follow Hitler onto the path of the destruction of Germany. Years ago, an old Nazi told of voting for Hitler and enjoying the promise of a schnitzel in every pot and a Volkswagen in every garage until he was no longer allowed to vote. A clergyman did not speak up about the horrible treatment of the Jews because he was not a Jew. Then it was too late. It was his turn to be sent off to the concentration camps. Christians around the world, even today, follow would-be dictators until it is too late for them to change course. Now, good Christians in America have followed another would-be dictator down the path to destruction twice. They forgot he instigated an attack on the Capitol building and democracy itself. They have no memory of his numerous adulterous acts, none of which he has repented for because he does not believe he needs to repent. His description during the pandemic that cost the lives of thousands, so much deception. His numerous bankruptcies to steal from others that he's proud of and wrote a book about. And finally, his $7 trillion deficit, the largest in history, that contributed the most to the inflation that he blamed on his successor. But it is not too late to turn back towards the Lord, to turn away from evil, and to do what Jesus would do. America is not a theocracy, as much as many Christians would like to see it that way. By taking rights away from one group so that you can try and force your own beliefs on others, you risk losing your own rights in turn. Hillary Clinton once stated that abortion should be legal but rare, and woke up to read a devotional each morning. She attended church regularly. Yet, when Franklin Graham never mentioned any of that, or the fact that her opponent never went to church when he sent out blatantly one-sided support for Trump to churches nationwide back in 2016, churches as nonprofits should never involve themselves in politics, but they do, failing to remember the master words, render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's. Trying to do the right thing about abortion and gays, churches and Christians have allowed a would-be dictator to attack the basic precepts of this nation under God. Freedom of religion also means freedom from the domination of one religious denomination over another. That is the foundational concept we must always remember. As the website is built and I begin the process of building the hard copy magazine, I will also put these news and commentary pieces on Bible College Radio several times a day and on YouTube. We'll have a channel for Christian Press. I hope you will come back and read or view these issues of importance to all Christians from a biblical and moral perspective. All for His glory. God bless. Larry McDowell for Bible College Radio and Christian Press, and Dean of McDowell Bible College.